The Fox Texas trio is back to discuss that bill by Frisco State Representative Jarrett Patterson, banning children from drag shows and also making them sexually explicit businesses. Rudy, Speaker Phelan, a Republican, some of these Republican bills that are aimed at the LGBT community, Speaker Phelan hasn't had a desire to push those bills through. Do you think other Republicans this session will lose this appetite for continuing to try to push through bills that impact LGBT topics?
No, I feel like this is going to be the big focus during the session this year will be these social issues. I think we're going to see a lot of the basic stuff like the budget right now, the redistricting. Those are going to get fast-tracked, and the core part of this session is going to be dealing with a lot of social issues. So I think everyone should strap in, buckle up. It's going to get bumpy about springtime.
Greg, what do you think about this? Do you think there's going to be some fatigue here with Republicans?
Stephen, I think a substantial number already are, at least privately, and frankly, that reluctance will remain private for politically pragmatic reasons, because stuff like drag shows and sexual content in public library books represent line in the sand positions for the grassroots of the Texas GOP. Put another way, a significant number of Republicans would much rather spend the limited time they have in session improving the business climate, cracking down on crime, and debating infrastructure upgrades rather than scrapping with Democrats over family values and what parents can and cannot expose their kids to.
Rudy, can this backfire for Republicans? Of course, they have the majority in both chambers, but can this backfire?
First of all, I'll say, oh, Greg, no. I think it is going to be hot. I think that this will be the core stuff, these social issues. I think people want to fight this out. They got the gloves on, and they're going to duke it out. Now, your question, Stephen, it all depends on how focused and how narrow these new regulations are going to be. Take a look at the movie The Birdcage, which is why that was my word, The Birdcage. It's groundbreaking film about conservative values and the drag community. Now, the movie and the performances are forced discussion, and they also push boundaries. It's also a very combustible topic. So when you bring kids into the debate, it's going to get even hotter. The images of what's happening during some of these drag shows in front of small kids, you can't deny that they are disturbing. Claiming it's only artistic expression, that's not going to stop the legislation. But if the regulations are too broad, where something like Barney on Ice or the Madonna concert fall under this new law, that's going to cause the pushback. And I guarantee you, that argument is already in place, similar to like the pushback on the legislation against China and Iran and these other governments buying land. We heard these other Democrats saying, oh, you can't do that. It's going to prevent the average person from buying property, these foreign individuals. So, we already see how this is already shaping up. So that's why I think it's going to be a really big fight this session.
Greg, Republicans say that they're the party for letting parents make decisions for their children. Why the exception here?
Well, without question, they've embraced the role of morality police, contending any Texan who would expose their minor child to this material is committing at least parenting malpractice, at the worst, child abuse. To me, the distinction between the two is key, because the bad parenting label is a moral opinion, whereas the abuse claim is a matter of public safety, impacting those who cannot protect themselves. Patterson and others clearly believe exposing children to explicit or implied sexual content can do real developmental damage to kids. And if their parents won't protect them, the state of Texas should. I guess the question lawmakers and parents have to answer is whether these shows represent a harmless and legitimate means of educating children about gender diversity. Now, with all that said, if this bill actually comes up for a vote, I'm guessing a majority of the Republican-controlled Texas legislature will favor age limits, much like the entire nation has long imposed on movies.
And Rudy, you'll have the last word on this. When the dust settles, what do you think a final bill could be? Just saying banning children and leaving the sexually oriented businesses out of it?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Greg on this one. Sounds like that's what the representative is also expecting. Maybe something like the movie theater rating system for nightclubs, PG, R, with no kids allowed, X, you can't do it at all, goes into the realm of strip clubs, and some sort of special permitting for a regular business that wants to do a special event. I can certainly see an interesting debate flaring up regarding public libraries, right?
Oh, we're going to have a lot of time that we're probably going to be spending on these topics. That's all the time we have for today. To see this episode and any of our other segments, go to our station's YouTube channels.
And keep the conversation going on our social media pages.
Next week, we are talking about the momentum building to bring resort-style casino gambling to the Lone Star State. Hope to see you then. And in the meantime, be sure to let us know what you think the issue is.